So it seems that the legendary prognosticator Nostradamus was able to predict most of the major events in history. Still, I question how good this guy would be if he couldn't predict the number one commodity of 2020. Now luckily, Dundas BI brings some very powerful prognostication, I love that word, tools that is going to help you make predictions with your data. Let's take a look at some of these tools and how they can help you. Oh, and I'm Jeff, and this is Off the Charts with Jeff. Now when it comes to predictive, a lot of this will come down to formulas and taking historical data to determine where we're going to go in the future. One option is to use regression formulas. Regression is the process of finding an equation that fits any given data set. And once the formula is discovered, you can use it to extrapolate the potential future values. Luckily, we don't have to do all this math, and simply by calling a formula, Dundas BI will do all the work for us. So you just call the formula, tell it that you want an regression, and what type of regression we're looking for, linear, exponential, logarithmic, or power-based. There are also formulas such as moving average, which is a great tool for you to see through some of the noise and daily fluctuations in your data to help predict what's going on. People will often use weighted moving average as well, which is the same idea as moving average, but the more recent values are given more weight to the output that you see. So if you've ever done anything like stock trading, you'll see that people will use these tools to help understand the current price and whether it's trading above or below the moving average. As you can see, predictive is all about having tools and knowing how to use them. Of course, the important thing about these formulas, in particular, is that you need to understand that stocks only go up. There's also exponential smoothing, which is a forecasting technique for time series analysis. With other predictive methods like moving average, each segment of history is given equal weight. With exponential smoothing, you can consider variations and seasonality to allow for more of a non-linear forecast like this. You can see in this example that this forecast isn't just a straight line. And you can also include things like confidence intervals that you can control. So if you want to have a 90% or 95% confidence that it's going to fall within this range, you can actually set it. The cool thing is you can go in here and play with the math if you want to. So if you open up any of these formulas, you can actually see the specific inputs that are going into it. I'm not a statistician. Most of the time, I'm just using the defaults or tweaking it a little bit based on things that I know. But if you really do want to get into the nitty-gritty, the capability's there. Now, another everyday use of predictive is the idea of identifying clusters. You may have heard of the k-means formula, which is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. And by unsupervised, of course, I mean you don't have to do any prior setup to teach the system anything before you start using it. As long as you have two measures, you can identify clusters automatically. So here's a quick example. I have some employee data, and we're going to plot salary versus tenure. Let's go to revisualize at the top, and you can see that it can identify clusters. And the system will automatically identify specific groups within this data. Like I mentioned before about playing with the inputs for these formulas, you can also change this one. So you can tell it how many specific clusters you want it to locate. Something like this is actually really popular in marketing, where they're actually trying to determine market segment. So, customers who do A and B tend to fall in category C, and we want to market to these people in category C. So identifying the clusters will help you find these people. So those are some very easy out-of-the-box forms of predictive analytics that you can do within Dundas BI. But there's more. Dundas BI allows you to plug in directly to R and Python, which are large programming languages that can do some very powerful functions like sentiment analysis, machine learning, and more. Now here's an example where we use Google's TensorFlow library to train a deep neural net to get an AI to help you with your predictions. It's really cool that you can use all these technologies together. So Dundas BI to help with maybe some of the data massaging. You bring it into Python or R to use a powerful technology like TensorFlow, which is at your disposal, which can give you some very interesting results. Now finally, you should also consider concepts like scoring and classification or decision trees, which can be modeled in BI tools to help you make a prediction. These concepts typically live on kind of the outskirts of what is typically considered predictive analytics, but they certainly do apply. And this will lead to the concept of what-if analysis as well, where you can input certain variables and see what those changes are going to be to your data. I've got a groundwork for an entire video on what-if analysis if you are interested, so that is coming soon. So I hope this is helpful, and if you haven't had a chance, take a look at the video that we did called Predictive Analytics Debunked, as it'll go through a couple of the myths and kind of outrageous claims that people will make about predictive capabilities automatically using AI. Hope this is helpful, and thanks for watching.